87%. According to the Video Games History Foundation, that's how many games that are classic games that are no longer being produced. As in, these games are not being made anywhere in any way, shape, or form. So why do people think that old games are killing modern gaming? That's what we're going to find out today. Saying old games or retro games, or whatever you want to call it, is the reason that modern gaming is failing is simply not true. I think there's a lot of different factors that we really have to consider when we really sit here and reflect and think, hey, why isn't modern gaming what it used to be? It's not what it feels like. I'm not so excited for the latest and greatest. I mean, some of us are, some of us aren't. It just depends on what games are coming out. And a lot of it comes down to economics. I think economics is one of the biggest factors in regards to, why modern gaming doesn't seem as cool anymore, for a lot of us, especially our age too. The average age of gamers has been like 35 forever. So we see a game and we see the value going down, I mean, you think about it. Like, for example, a PlayStation 5 game, started out as, a $70 game. That's the other thing, too. Games are now $70. That's becoming a new standard for AAA games. And then they, plummet months later to much more reasonable prices, so people will pick them up later. So that has a huge factor, this lack of early adopters. Plus, it's important to consider back in 2020 were crazy times, right? A lot of people had video game collections. A lot of people sold their video game collections. A lot of people bought more games or whatever. So there's a lot to consider what has happened in the last how many years or whatever, and a lot of people are starting to buy old games again and maybe shifting away from newer games because maybe they're at a point where they're just kind of like, well, this just isn't appealing, this just isn't exciting. But then I think about a good buddy of mine, Master System Marceau. He said this has been a great year for gaming. There were a lot of games that excited him, such as Lollipop Chainsaw Remaster, the Sonic Shadow Generation deal or whatever that game's called, and Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Astrobot, all those games really intrigued him and he was excited about it. And he's just kind of like, what do people want exactly? And that's the thing about it is, a lot of video games come down to taste, personal taste. So I can understand maybe if those games weren't in your, wheelhouse in your neck of the woods, or maybe you don't have a PS5, then maybe that didn't intrigue you, and I totally get that. I think the rise of the live service game has also played a factor in why people are less and less interested in what a lot of folks call modern gaming, honestly. Like, if you've been playing Fortnite for years and years on a tablet or your PC, which you can easily upgrade, I feel like PCs are much easier to upgrade than they were 20, 30 years ago. Why would you get a PS5? Why would you get an Xbox Series X or even the new PS5 Pro? I mean, why would you do that? I mean, if you can just keep playing those on the same way you're playing them, it doesn't make a lot of sense to upgrade. I think innovation has been a real problem with modern gaming. There's just nothing that's just truly amazing where I'm like, this is the reason I need to buy a PS5 or this is the reason I need to buy an Xbox One X. There's just really nothing that I couldn't just buy on PC or wait till it comes to PC. I mean, yeah, Astrobot looked really cool, and a lot of people were really excited about that. But then a month later, nobody's talking about Astrobot anymore. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, everybody was excited for that because it looks like the Link's Awakening remake. But now you don't hear much about that. There are over 1 million video games in existence. We've never had more choice in our entire lives. Why would we just choose modern gaming anyways? Because we have so much overwhelming choice. A lot of it comes back to just, developers and publishers just aren't innovating like they used to. They're playing it safe, especially like AAA developers and publishers, because they know at the end of the day, money is what matters. Because they need to make as much money as possible. They're not going to take a big risk and end up being a flop, okay? They're going to make safe choices because at the end of the day, that's what they're designed to do. They're not incentivized to make these big risks. Only companies like Nintendo really take serious risks anymore, because that's what they do. At the end of the day, they're an innovative company. They're a toy company, and they know that. At the core of who they are is they're a toy company. Whereas Sony, they're in it to make money. Microsoft, I don't know. I think they're in it to beat Sony because I don't think they really make money like they used to. But they have other businesses, obviously. I mean, they're a $3 trillion tech company, so they really never have to make money again. But it's all about beating Sony, honestly. And nobody's going to beat Nintendo. Nintendo keeps doing their own thing. I think we need to stop looking at modern gaming as AAA titles and first-party stuff. I think we need to start looking at modern gaming as indie gaming. Indie gaming is really, to me, the innovative gaming or whatever. Games trying to do stuff that nobody else is doing or whatever, and trying to really appeal to a group of people who are nostalgic for a really specific time. I mean, a lot of it comes back to nostalgia for sure, but it doesn't mean that modern gaming is being killed by old gaming. Modern gaming is being killed by modern gaming. Modern gaming isn't showing everybody why. Why is it that, we should turn to modern gaming when retro gaming, old school gaming, it already does great things. There's already great things to play. We have no problem of lack of things to play. The hardest part is making a decision. And at the end of the day, I truly believe people should just make a decision, just play something. It's better to play something than just sit around for hours and not know what the heck to play. That's actually worse than making no decision at all. So to wrap things up, I don't think old games are ruining modern gaming. If anything, old games are giving modern gaming more depth. We love retro video games because they call back to a certain time. That's why people love the retro aesthetic. And I feel like more modern AAA developers should lean into that. I think that is important, to call back at the same time or whatever. You got to focus on the future. You got to focus on innovation. But innovation and things like that should not rely on live service games and microtransactions and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, businesses are going to business, and big corporations are going to big corporation or whatever. But that doesn't mean we have to look at them as the only sense of modern gaming. I think indie games are the future of modern gaming because so many people long for those old days. But there's a lot of cool indie games that do innovative things as well. By appreciating the past and pushing forward with the future, the game industry can offer something for everybody. Whether it's the diehards who love the classics or people who yearn for innovation. Old games and new ideas can totally coexist, and that's what's keeping gaming fresh, exciting, and full of so much possibility. At the end of the day, video games are what you make of them. That's all the time I have today. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome in this universe. Later.